Hello, everybody, and welcome. I want to introduce you to Gus Bageanis, the Director of Recruitment and Business Development for the Food and Beverage team at Miller Resource Group. Gus, how you doing this morning?
Doing all right, Trev. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Apologize in advance if anyone hears "Hello, Daddy" or "Daddy, I need you" shouted in the background. The kids' daycare's shut down today. Kid in a different classroom got the virus, and when that happens, they shut the facility down for 72 hours. So they're home upstairs with mom, and sound tends to carry in our house, but it is what it is.
No problem.
Yep. So Gus, let's start off. Tell me a little bit about what it is that you do at Miller Resource Group.
So I've been with Miller now, going to be 7 years here in just a couple months. I'm the Director of Recruiting and Business Development for the Food and Beverage team. And I basically run a 360 desk, which means that I work with both clients and candidates, the goal being to be a matchmaker and do my best to bring hopefully the best talent in the world to the best companies in the world. So
it's a good goal. Tell me a little bit about what makes one of those companies one of the best companies in the world.
Again, tough question. Good question. I would say really it comes down to a whole array of issues or areas. Culture, being competitive in the marketplace, having a good product, being proud of your product and what you're bringing to the marketplace. That leads to part of what I was saying about the culture, being a company that believes in what you're doing genuinely.
Mm-hmm.
You're excited about what you do. That bleeds into your culture because then you're excited, your people are excited to work there. And just a company that treats their people with respect, treats their people in a way that attracts talent. That makes my job a whole lot easier when companies treat their people very well and create an environment that is healthy. Those are just some of the things. We can talk about this quite a bit, obviously, but
Mm-hmm.
those are some of the things I would say that create a top-notch culture.
Yeah, you touched on something pretty interesting there, and that's the excitement. I think when people and particularly leadership, because I think that trickles down when the people in the leadership are excited about what they're doing and why they're doing it, a lot of that makes a lot of the other aspects significantly easier. What do you think?
Yeah, if going to work every day is a grind, if going to work every day means going somewhere where you don't necessarily get jazzed up about what you're doing and why you're doing it, again, it trickles out of you. It comes out in how you act, how you react, how you talk, what your meetings are like, what the banter between you and your colleagues is like. But if you go to the workplace, you go to the office or your facility where you're working, and you're truly amped up about what you're doing, that's going to come out. And it's going to create just, again, a healthy environment, an environment that is positive, where people want to help each other do great things. And you need to believe that what you're doing is a great thing to do that. So
What do you think, and what are you seeing from some of your customers? What are companies doing to help keep their teams engaged and excited about the work that they're doing when so much of the team is working from home, working remotely, and really only getting to interact on scheduled Zoom calls? How are they keeping their team excited and engaged?
I think just a lot of contact. It is, I'm not fully involved in that aspect of the business, so I don't really have a lot of answers on that, to be honest with you. I could say what we're doing as a company, and I do know other companies are doing this as well. Just a lot of interaction, like I said, on Zoom. Just making sure there's a good amount of contact there. Checking in with each other, meeting with each other. One of the things our office does that I think is great is we do a virtual happy hour on Thursdays at the end of the day, just to get together, laugh, kind of keep the culture engaged with one another, people engaged with one another. Beyond that, I honestly don't have a whole lot of insight right now on what some of my other clients are doing.
All right. Well, let's go back then to the great companies do these things to set themselves apart. How do they convey that message out to people who might potentially work there one day? How do they, I don't necessarily want to say market, but how do they let potential candidates know about the things that they're doing that might set themselves apart from some of their competitors who have similar products and offerings, but don't have the intrinsic benefits? How do they get that message out to the market?
Well, I think there's a number of ways that companies can do that and do that. Some of my best clients, your web presence is huge. What you put on your website, what you put on your LinkedIn or even your other social media, as a company, as employees, that is just like one big commercial. So putting your values on all over the place. What are your core values of your company? One of my top clients, just, you go to their website and immediately video starts to play that shows different people at the company interacting. It shows there are people interviewed. If you click, there's an opportunity to go and learn about their culture and click around, and there's different people from the company that are interviewed that talk about why they love working at such and such company. So your web presence is huge. Just speaking from almost selfishly, using firms like ours, we're able to help companies. I'm able to go out to the marketplace and say, here from as a third party, I'm representing this client, and here is why I think this would be a great company to work for. Here's what they're doing right. Here's how they treat their people. Here's why their culture is exciting. Here's why their product and their vision is exciting. So I'm able to do that as well for my clients. But there's a number of ways: press releases, web, social media. There's a lot of ways they can do it, but and just having your people love what they do. If you're a company of several thousand people, which many of my clients are, and they are just one big commercial for you. If you're treating them right, they're telling their colleagues and their network and their friends about your company. So
and I think
probably the number one way.
And I think they're also engaging with the community, particularly LinkedIn, about the work that they're doing and why they're excited about the work that they're doing. And
right.
People notice that. People see that. Because when somebody is interested in a company, I think now more than ever, one of the first things they do is they go check out a company's LinkedIn profile and check out the profiles of some of the people that are working there.
Yeah, agreed, for sure.
So let's flip the conversation a little bit, if you don't mind. So for a candidate, once they've discovered a couple of companies that they're really interested in, they see some of this great stuff that the company's putting out, and they're excited about potentially joining that organization, what can the candidates do to set themselves apart from people who have similar backgrounds and similar skill sets?
Again, I think there's several things. I would say just your branding as a candidate, you make sure your resume is sharp. Make sure your LinkedIn looks really good, looks really professional, from top to bottom, from the photo to the content to how you present yourself. Again, on your LinkedIn profile, in your resume. But then just, when you get to the point of getting an interview, recognizing, and we always tell the people we represent this, you are interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you. So you don't want to be known as a professional interviewer. But at the same time, you want to go to these interviews and you want to have good questions prepared. You want to do your homework. You want to, just really prep with your recruiter, whether it's us or someone else, doesn't matter, but prep with your recruiter and ask good questions. Set yourself apart that way by, really doing your homework and coming prepared for that interview.
Mm-hmm. Another thing that I've thought about recently that I think I wish more candidates would do is to be proactive in their search before they even start their search. Mm-hmm. So to just follow cool companies in their market, to engage with leaders and peers at competitors and similar companies, and start to engage with those people on the social platforms, so that if and when the time comes for you to truly start the active process of finding work, then those companies probably already have some familiarity with you, a lot of the people, and I think that'll set you apart from just being one of the many resumes that gets sent to an ATS.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's very good. If they do that, they'll stick out. Which is the goal.
Yeah, that really is the goal, because, and that's part of the reason too why I think a killer LinkedIn profile and an active LinkedIn profile is so important, because an ATS is designed to weed candidates out, mm-hmm. whereas being part of a community or working with a recruiter, the recruiter's job is to almost weed people in, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
So how does a recruiter do that? How do you do that? How do you identify the people who they might not have every single qualification listed on the job description, but they have enough of the skills necessary and they have the potential to be incredibly successful with some of your customers?
Yeah, I mean, that's why we're so, not to sound vain, but that's why we are so valuable as recruiters, as search consultants. We are your best, infomercial. We, as opposed to being in a stack of 1,000 resumes, as I like to say in all of my calls, as opposed to being in a stack of 1,000 resumes of people who applied for that role, we have the ability to kind of shine a spotlight on you and what you bring to the table as a candidate in a way that you can't do by clicking apply online. So what we do, and what makes a good recruiter, is that we'll have a deep conversation with you. We'll ask you questions that aren't on your resume. We'll learn about you. We'll learn about what makes you tick. We'll learn about what makes you great at what you do. We'll hear the passion in your voice. We'll hear you describe your experience. And then what we do is we're able to go to our client, who, by the way, we already have a relationship with, and we know what makes them click and tick. We know their vision. We know where they want to go and what they're looking for that's not on the resume. And we're matchmakers, man. So we then will say, hey, John, only hits 80% of the qualifications that are on your job description and that you have posted out there. But let me tell you what he brings to the table that I think you're going to be really excited about. He's passionate about X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3. I know that's in your vision. I know that's where you guys want to go. And he brings that to the table. And you know what? He's light on experience here, but let me tell you, he really gets it. He understands it, and he wants to grow in that area. Those are things that we can shine a light on that will make you stand apart. And instead of just reading your resume, a black and white static piece of paper, we're able to make that resume pop and come to life, and put personality to it. So I think that hopefully that helps.
Yeah, matchmaker and a storyteller. Instead of matching a resume to a job description perfectly, you truly try to understand a company's vision and how this role is going to fit into the vision, and searching for the potential, the people with the most potential to help achieve that vision. It's exciting, and it's so different than a lot of I'm hesitant to use the word, but so many talent acquisition teams. There's a lot of people in talent acquisition that get it right, that they understand the importance of people. But I think when talent teams get too big and so tied up into metrics, it's impossible to match vision to potential, and you can only focus on matching resumes to job descriptions.
Yeah, that's so true. And we see that all the time.
Yep.
Very true.
Yeah. So, what else is on your mind, Gus? What are you doing to keep sane during these interesting times?
Oh man, it's crazy. Working from home and trying to help companies. A lot of the companies I work with are struggling, but a lot of them are hiring like crazy. So it's a unique world, the food and beverage industry, and our companies that are on the food service side, the restaurant side, doing a lot of business on the food service side, have had a hard go of the last 6 months, obviously, unfortunately. But our companies that are on the retail side and really focused heavily there are booming. But they're dealing with COVID. They're dealing with COVID in their plants. They're dealing with COVID everywhere. So they're going through some really hard, challenging times, and I've had the opportunity to have some really close heart-to-heart conversations with a lot of my clients, and sort of try and almost be a counselor to console and help, and try and be an outside resource that can help them, because HR departments, talent acquisition departments are really heavily inundated. It's getting better now, but March, April, May, June, July, we're really dealing with so many HR issues surrounding COVID that they also needed to hire, but I just came in and did my best to help in any way I could with the emergency that they had on their hands. So stay sane. To go back to your question, I've been really busy, so that kind of didn't really have an opportunity to think about staying sane. Just had to keep grinding away. So I've been blessed to be busy during a very difficult time, and I appreciate that, and I'm thankful for that. So
yeah. So you've been at Miller Resource for 7 years now. Tell me a little bit about what's kept you at our company for so long, and why do you think you've been so successful in your time? Because you are crushing it, sir. The things you've accomplished over the past 7 years are immeasurable, and I know your standing within MRI Network is right there at the tippy top, one of the most successful recruiters in all of MRI Network. So kudos to you. And what's kept you at Miller for so long, and why do you think you've been so successful?
Yeah, well, thank you. I would say, I mean, we're kind of coming full circle to where we started, and what makes a great company. And a lot of the reason why I'm still with Miller is that Miller's a great company. Gary Miller, is a big reason why. He's a legend in our industry and our space, and the MRI world knows that, but those outside of the MRI world probably don't know Gary all that well unless they're in industrial automation. But he is a legend in the industry, been able to kind of just sit under his tutelage and learn and grow. And you guys do a great job just, leading us and casting a great vision for our company and keeping the culture strong. And, it's a great place to work. It's fun, whether we're going to Sox games or barbecues or going on trips to Hawaii or wherever we may go. I mean, we keep it fun, keep it light, where we care about each other, and that you can feel that, you can feel the genuine care and love that we have for each other as a team. So it's been kind of easy to stay. I mean, we're kind of a family, right? So, I think that kind of is the big deal. So,
yeah. And like any family, we care for each other, and we have our challenges from time to time, but
sure.
I think we're always pulling each other towards that same North Star. And that makes, I think that makes it easy to help everyone be successful.
Right. Yeah. Agreed.
Well, thanks, Gus. Any last thoughts for everyone listening out there?
No, keep your head up. We're getting through this crazy 2020. This has just been a insane year, but things are looking up. So, keep your head up.
All right. Well, thanks so much for chatting with me today, Gus. Really appreciate it, and looking forward to, as always, watching your future and seeing what you're going to be able to accomplish next.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time. I appreciate
it. You bet.
It.
Have a great one.
All right, you too.